In 1973, a Minnesota researcher named Dan Carlson played birdsong to dying crops and watched them triple in size. No fertilizer, no genetic modification, just sound waves from a $20 speaker. Within a decade, his method had been tested on farms across 3 continents. Government reports documented the results. And then the technique quietly disappeared. The method requires nothing but a sound file and an open window. There is nothing to patent, nothing to sell annually, nothing that feeds a $200 billion industry. For millions of years, plants evolved alongside the dawn chorus of birdsong. Their cellular machinery is tuned to frequencies that you can easily produce yourself. This is the exact range where birds sing as the sun rises. Modern agriculture has removed this ancient trigger. Your greenhouse is silent, your farm is silent, and the industry selling you nutrients wants to keep it that way. Welcome back to Nature Hidden Beneath, where we discover hidden agriculture techniques every day. Hit that subscribe button now, leave a comment with your location, and tell me if you have ever tried playing music for your plants. The answer might surprise you. Dan Carlson was not a scientist by training. He was a soldier stationed in Korea during the early 1960s. One morning, near the demilitarized zone, he witnessed something that would haunt him for the rest of his life. A starving Korean mother placed her young child's legs beneath the wheel of an American military truck. The impact was deliberate. Crushed legs meant the child qualified as disabled. A disabled child meant the family received food subsidies. That single moment of desperation changed everything for Carlson. When he returned home to Minnesota, Carlson used his GI Bill benefits to enroll at the University of Minnesota. He spent years in the library, buried in plant physiology textbooks. He was searching for one thing: a way to grow more food without expensive inputs, a way to feed families who could not afford fertilizer. The question that consumed him was simple: how do plants actually breathe? The answer led him to tiny structures on the underside of every leaf. They are called stomata. Picture thousands of microscopic mouths, each less than 1/1000th of an inch across. These pores open and close throughout the day. When they open, carbon dioxide flows in for photosynthesis. Water and oxygen flow out. Nutrients applied to leaves can also enter through these openings. The wider the stomata open, the more a plant can absorb. Carlson spent months studying what controls these tiny gates. He discovered that the guard cells surrounding each stoma respond to vibration. Specific sound frequencies cause them to open wider than normal conditions allow. He began testing different sounds: static noise, pure tones, musical compositions. Nothing worked consistently. Then he tried something different. He recorded birdsong, the dawn chorus, that explosion of singing that happens just before sunrise. Carlson noticed that when he analyzed the frequencies, most birdsong clusters from 3,000 to 5,000 hertz. He worked with a Minneapolis audio engineer named Michael Holtz to synthesize these frequencies. They blended oscillating tones that mimic the chirping of birds and crickets at dawn. The first tests were remarkable. In his laboratory at the University of Minnesota, Carlson exposed plants to his synthesized birdsong while spraying them with a balanced nutrient solution. The stomata opened dramatically wider. His instruments showed absorption rates increasing by several 100%. Plants that receive sound and foliar nutrients outperform control groups by enormous margins. Some experiments showed yield increases of 100 to 400%. The signature achievement came with a purple passion plant. This common houseplant normally grows about 1 foot tall. Under Carlson's sound treatment, a single purple passion grew to over 1,300 feet of vine. The Guinness Book of World Records documented it as the largest indoor plant ever grown. Carlson patented his technique in 1985. He called it sonic bloom. The United States Patent Office granted his application for a method using sound frequencies 4 to 6 kilohertz at volumes of 115 to 120 decibels. But Carlson was building on older research. Picture a laboratory in southern India, 1962. Dr. T.C. Singh, head of the botany department at Annamali University, was conducting his own experiments with sound. Singh exposed balsam plants to classical music. The results showed a 20% increase in height. Biomass increased by 72% compared to silent control groups. Singh then tested raga music. Traditional Indian compositions were played on flute, violin, and harmonium. He set up loudspeakers in agricultural fields. The crops exposed to music produced from 25 to 60% more yield than regional averages. Singh even tested the vibrations created by barefoot dancing. He concluded that plants respond to rhythmic sound regardless of the source. His research suggested that the violin produced the strongest effects. A Canadian engineer named Eugene Canby read Singh's work. He exposed his wheat fields to a recording of Johann Sebastian Bach's violin sonata. His harvest showed a 66% increase in yield. In Colorado during 1973, a researcher named Dorothy Retalak conducted controlled experiments at the Colorado Women's College. She placed plants in biotronic chambers and exposed them to different types of music. Classical music produced healthy growth. The plants actually bent toward the speakers. Rock music from Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix caused the plants to grow away from the sound source. Their leaves shrank. Some died within 2 weeks. Now let us examine why this works at the molecular level. Scientists at the University of California, San Diego discovered a signaling mechanism that controls stomata. The guard cells that form each stoma are tuned to the resonant frequency of calcium. When exposed to exactly this frequency, the stomata close. But when exposed to frequencies that are close but not exact, something interesting happens. The stomata open wider than normal. They stay open longer. Even when conditions would normally trigger closure, picture a single leaf under a microscope. Thousands of stomata dot its surface like tiny green lips. When birdsong frequencies wash over the leaf, those lips part wider, more carbon dioxide rushes in, more dew moisture gets absorbed. The plant's photosynthesis kicks into higher gear. Researchers at Yungnam University in South Korea published a groundbreaking study in Scientific Reports. They exposed Arabidopsis thaliana, a common research plant, to different frequencies in soundproof chambers. At 500 Hz, they documented 703 changes in gene expression. At 3000 Hz, 596 genes changed their activity. These were not subtle shifts. The sound was rewriting how the plant's cells functioned. The genes affected controlled stomata behavior, photosynthesis efficiency, and stress response. A 2024 review in the journal Biology synthesized decades of research. Sound frequency technology has been shown to stimulate leaf stomata opening. This enhances the plant's uptake of spray fertilizer. Furthermore, sound waves have proven effective in facilitating herbicide absorption. Some studies showed a 50% reduction in pesticide use when sound was applied. The plants absorbed treatments more efficiently because their stomata were wide open. Indonesian researchers tested sonic bloom technology on drought-stressed soybeans. They found that 4 kHz produced optimal stomatal opening. The width of stomatal opening correlated directly with nutrient uptake efficiency. Plants exposed to sound at 75% soil moisture performed as well as control plants at 100% moisture. The sound was helping plants survive drought conditions. Think about what this means from an evolutionary perspective. Plants have existed for over 400 million years. For most of that time, they grew surrounded by sound-producing organisms. Insects chirping, birds singing, wind rustling through leaves. The dawn chorus is not random noise. It is an environmental signal that has repeated every single morning for millions of years. As the sun approaches the horizon, birds begin to sing. The frequencies peak between 3000 and 5000 Hz. At this exact moment, morning dew still clings to leaves. This dew contains dissolved minerals and micronutrients from the atmosphere. A plant with open stomata can absorb this rich moisture directly through its leaves. The birdsong is essentially a wake-up call. It tells the plant that sunrise is coming. Time to open up and start working. Now picture a modern commercial greenhouse, climate-controlled, artificially lit, completely silent. Or imagine a massive indoor vertical farm, sterile, quiet, and efficient looking. These environments have removed the acoustic trigger that plants evolved to expect. We have created growing conditions that plants never experienced during their entire evolutionary history, and we wonder why we need so much fertilizer to make them thrive. If the science is this clear, why has almost no one heard of it? Let us follow the money. The global fertilizer market reached $207 billion in 2024. Analysts project it will grow to nearly $277 billion by 2034. Companies like Nutrien, Yara International, and CF Industries dominate this market. Their business model is simple. Farmers buy fertilizer every single season, year after year, generation after generation. A bag of chemical fertilizer costs $50 or more per acre. Every planting season requires new purchases. Now consider the sonic bloom method. A speaker costs about $20. Sound files are available for free online. Once you have the equipment, there is nothing more to buy. No recurring revenue, no annual contracts, no shareholder dividends from repeat customers. Picture two farmers standing at a crossroads. One path leads to the fertilizer dealer, where he will sign another invoice, load another truck, spread another season's worth of chemicals. The other path leads to a shed with a speaker and a timer. One purchase, done forever. Which path do you think the agricultural industry promotes? Look at what happened to this research over time. In the 1960s and the 1970s, scientific journals published dozens of papers on sound and plant growth. Universities funded experiments, and researchers presented at conferences. Then the citations began to dry up. A graph of publication frequency shows a steep decline starting in the late 1970s. This coincides exactly with the explosion of the synthetic fertilizer industry. Academic journals stopped accepting papers on acoustic agriculture. Grant committees labeled it fringe science. Agricultural extension offices funded by industry partnerships never mentioned it. The technique that required no ongoing purchases quietly disappeared from mainstream conversation. But the research did not stop. It just moved to places where Western corporations held less influence. In China, researchers developed plant acoustic frequency technology, called PAFT. They applied it to cotton plants and documented increases in height, leaf area, and the number of fruit-bearing branches. The treated plants produced heavier bolls. Chinese agricultural scientists continue publishing results on sound-stimulated growth across dozens of crop types. In Punjab, India, farmers have started playing music through loudspeakers installed throughout their fields. They install one speaker approximately every 50 meters. They report healthy crops without pesticides. Their yields have improved. They are returning to ancient practices using modern equipment. In Indonesia, researchers continue refining the optimal frequencies for different crops. Soybeans respond best to 4 kHz. Rice shows improvement at lower frequencies. Each plant species has its own acoustic sweet spot. The pattern is unmistakable. Across Asia, Africa, and South America, researchers and farmers are documenting what indigenous cultures knew for millennia. Plants respond to sound. Think about traditional farming practices around the world. Indian farmers chanting mantras as they worked their fields. Native American corn songs sung during planting and harvest. West African drumming ceremonies performed among crops. Japanese farmers practicing Kagura sacred music in their paddies. Western science dismissed all of this as superstition, primitive rituals with no scientific basis. Then researchers began analyzing the acoustic properties of these traditions. The frequencies clustered around the same ranges, 3 to 5 kHz. These are the exact frequencies that modern laboratories have confirmed stimulate plant growth. Thousands of years of accumulated knowledge, encoded in cultural practice, validated by spectrographic analysis. So what can you do with this information right now? First, the frequency range. You want sounds between 3,000 and 5,000 Hz as your primary target. Lower frequencies around 500 to 1,000 Hz also show benefits in some studies. Search online for birdsong recordings, sonic bloom frequencies, or plant growth sound files. Many are available at no cost. Second, the equipment. Any speaker capable of producing high-frequency sounds will work. A smartphone connected to a small Bluetooth speaker is sufficient. You do not need expensive audio equipment. Position the speaker near your plants, but not directly touching them. Moderate volume is ideal. Aim for a level between normal conversation and a vacuum cleaner. Third, the timing. Early morning works best. This aligns with the natural dawn chorus that plants evolved alongside. Play the sounds for 30 minutes to 3 hours maximum. Longer exposure can actually stress plants. They need quiet time too. Fourth, the enhancement. For maximum effect, combine sound exposure with foliar feeding. While the sound is playing, spray your plants with a diluted organic nutrient solution. The open stomata will absorb nutrients directly through the leaves. Apply during cool morning hours so the spray does not evaporate immediately. Fifth, track your results. Measure plant height every 2 weeks. Count leaves and note their size. Record any pest or disease issues. Weigh your final harvest. Keep some untreated control plants for comparison. Document everything with photographs. Your total investment is less than $20. Your recurring costs are zero. Today, the fertilizer industry approaches $250 billion annually. The sound file that could supplement a portion of those inputs costs nothing. Farmers around the world continue purchasing bags and bottles every season. Meanwhile, the birds keep singing every morning for free. The studies exist. They are published in peer-reviewed journals. The patents are public record. The mechanism is understood at the molecular level. Guard cells respond to vibration. Stomata open to specific frequencies. Plants absorb more nutrients when they can hear the dawn. For 400 million years, plants grew in a world filled with sound. Then we built silent farms and wondered why yields required ever more chemical support. We dismissed ancient practices as folklore. We ignored researchers who could not attract corporate funding. We created an agricultural system that depends on annual purchases. The question is not whether plants respond to sound. The science has answered that. The real question is why this knowledge remains hidden in academic journals, while fertilizer advertisements dominate every farming publication. What would agriculture look like if we listened to the evidence? What would your garden become if you gave your plants what evolution designed them to receive? The dawn chorus begins tomorrow morning. Your plants will be waiting. The only question is whether you will join them. Thank you for watching Nature Hidden Beneath. If this changed how you think about plants and sound, share this video with someone who grows things. Hit subscribe so you do not miss what we uncover next. Leave a comment telling me which crop you want to test first. I read every single one. Until next time, keep questioning what you have been told.